were on this last page, that is page number, I think we were on page number 161. Yes, we were on page number 161. Open your books to page 161. As I told you, you may look in your NCRTs, sit with a pencil, mark the important points in your NCRTs, because from these points, many questions may come. Okay, so just give me a minute. Let us proceed with effects of drug and alcohol, addiction and dependence. So I told you why it leads to addiction, alcohol and drug use, why it leads to addiction, because constantly our body is getting used to that higher amount of drug or alcohol which is present. Our receptors are constantly getting blocked, and because the sense of euphoria, if suppose that sense of euphoria or wellness was being produced at 10 mg, maybe next time after 2 or 3 uses, maybe the body gets accustomed to that 10 mg, and next time for achieving that same level of well-being, we may have to take 20 mg. So what happens, slowly and gradually the body gets used to that higher level of drug, and in order to get the same effect, a higher dose is required. So this is how it leads to addiction and increase in the level of the drug taken. Withdrawal symptoms, we have discussed what were the different withdrawal symptoms, because withdrawal symptoms are very severe. I made you mark all these withdrawal symptoms. Please try to learn up the points which have been marked, because these are the points from where value-based questions are formed, and what does give a value-based question from this part. Okay, then we had to start with effects of drug and alcohol abuse. I think this is also we had marked. If not, let's start marking. We had discussed these points. The first point was the immediate effect of drug. The immediate effect of drug was vandalism. That is, under the impact of drug, you don't know, you are not able to demarcate between what is good and what is bad for you. So what do? You start destroying the public property, you start taking fun out of it, because the adrenaline level has been increased. Under the impact of drugs, adrenaline is being increased more, and it is the flight, fight, or the 3F. You either fight from a situation, or you flight away from that situation, or the third one was flight, fight, or what was the third one? Who will tell me? What was the third one? Flight. You fight, or flight. You run away. Yes, Kunal. Yes, Kunal. Repeat the three.
Flight, fear.
No, not
Fight,
fear.
flight, fear. No, it was fear. Your voice is not clear.
Yes, the person becomes more violent, the behavior changes takes place, and then after that, these were the immediate actions of drug abuse. After that, what happens? If suppose the drug dose is overused, then it can lead to a person going into coma, or it can lead to even death of the person. Okay, then is in general anxiety from this from drug abuse. We have discussed all these symptoms: sudden decrease in academic performance, unexplained absence, etc. All these things we had done. Okay, and then what are the social impacts? These are the impacts on that person. That is, these are the signs which would tell us that a person is suffering from a drug abuse. But what are the indirect impacts? If suppose the demand for drugs become more and more, because body needs more and more drug after some duration. Okay, so what does it lead to? More expenditure on the purchase of these drugs, and when the money falls short, the person turns to start stealing. So last paragraph: if an abuser is unable to get money to buy drugs or alcohol, he or she may turn to stealing. Okay, then at times, last 2-3 lines, at times drug or alcohol addict becomes the cause of mental and financial distress to his or her entire family and friends. Okay, so these were the effects: immediate effects, overdose effect, then the effects in the individual performance of that person, and then the effect on the society and the family. So all these are the effects of drug abuse. Then come to the next page. Okay, see these and the last 4 chapters. this portion of the chapter, and last 4 chapters are such that should be done from NCERT so that you don't miss out any important lines, because from every line the question can be formulated and has come in boards. Okay, so these some of these chapters, some of these portions I will do from your NCERT only. Okay, so let's see page 162. Those who take drugs intravenously, direct injection into the vein using needle and syringe, one more impact of drug abuse. And you know, if syringes are taken and syringes are shared, then it can lead to AIDS and hepatitis. In gist, I've already discussed these points with you. So those who take the drug intravenously, then, and if it is shared, then last 3 lines, both AIDS and hepatitis B infection are chronic infection and ultimately fatal. They may lead to the death of the person. AIDS can be transmitted to one's life partner through sexual contact, while hepatitis B is transmitted through infected blood. So sharing of needle is a common cause of spread of these diseases. Then other effects of drug abuse are the use of alcohol during adolescence may also have a long-term effect. It could lead to heavy drinking in adulthood. If a person starts taking alcohol in young age during adolescence, then slowly and gradually the body becomes habitual to that small amount of alcohol, and when that person reaches adulthood, he may become a heavy drinker. And if a person becomes a heavy drinker, obviously what will happen? The damage to the liver will take place. Okay, that is why they see this is what I'll rather tell you about a silly mistake I did when I went for research. So when I was working as a JRF, we were working on hepatocyte cells. And for hepatocyte cells, for culturing hepatocyte cells, we used to take kill mice and take the liver of mice and then grow those hepatocyte cells. And then we used to put medicine, whichever medicine had to be tried to be tested. And then we used to put medicine over it to test the effect of that medicine on hepatocyte cells, whether the hepatocytes were getting damaged or they were surviving in the presence. So my senior who was there was a silly question I asked that senior. Sir, we are sterilizing everything. We are sterilizing the surface. Sometimes we sterilize the petri dish also with alcohol. Why are we not sterilizing this petri dish with alcohol? Why don't we use alcohol for sterilization before we grow the hepatocyte cell in it? Wasn't that a very silly question? Later I realized he looked blankly at my face. Ma'am, you have done your post graduation and you're asking me this question. Why don't we? What is the common side effect of alcohol abuse? It damages the liver cells. Ma'am, you're trying to grow liver cells in a petri dish. How can you use alcohol for cleaning? Okay, so that is why, remember, for growing hepatocytes, do not clean your petri dish with alcohol, otherwise your hepatocytes will die. Okay, fine. So let's proceed. So use of alcohol in adolescence may lead to a heavy drinking problem during adulthood. The chronic use of drug and alcohol damages nervous system and liver. So damage of liver system and liver is known as cirrhosis. Okay, so बोर्ड में कितनी बार ये क्वेश्चन आया है 1 मार्कर में, और अब तो एमसीक्यूज आते हैं. व्हाट इज सिरोसिस? सो डैमेज कॉज टू नर्वस सिस्टम एंड लिवर ड्यू टू एक्सेसिव ड्रग यूज इज cirrhosis, or rather cirrhosis is damage to the nervous system and liver. The use of drugs and alcohol during pregnancies also adversely affects the fetus. Okay, so I gave you the term for it. Then another misuse of drug is what certain sports person do to enhance their performance. So this is a misuse of drug, because suddenly after taking drugs, the adrenaline synthesis starts, and if adrenaline synthesis starts, too much of blood and the oxygen is rushed towards our skeletal muscles. So the activity of the athletes will obviously increase, but that is something not natural. How can they compete with the person who has not taken any drug and is synthesizing the normal amount of adrenaline? That is why the use of drugs, the performance enhancer drugs during sports is banned. Okay, doping test is done in order to find whether a person has taken drugs or not before the performance. Okay, and even after winning, if it is cleared, it has been proved that the person won because of taking drugs, that medal is taken away and is given to the next winner. Many such incidences, you can ask your physical education sir, he will tell you about many such incidences which has occurred in recent past. Okay, So this misuse of narcotic analgesics, anabolic steroids, diuretics, and certain hormones in sports increases muscle strength and bulk, and to promote aggressiveness, and as a result increase athletics performance. So it does not only increases the adrenaline synthesis, it can also increase the amount of muscle formation, the activity, more toning of muscles can take place when these drugs are taken. So all this is not natural, so this is not allowed in sports. The side effects of anabolic steroids in females include masculinization, that is the development of male-like features, development of facial hairs, etc., increased aggressiveness, mood swings, depression, abnormal menstrual cycles, excessive hair growth on face and body, enlargement of clitoris, deepening of voice. In males, it includes acne, increased aggressiveness, mood swings, depression, reduction in size of testicles, decreased sperm production, potential for kidney and liver dysfunction, breast enlargement, premature baldness, enlargement of prostate gland, etc. And if prostate gland enlarges, it has got serious impacts on the body. Okay, so because this is a general problem which occurs in adults once they cross the age of 50 or 60, the enlargement of prostate gland sometimes naturally occurs, and it leads to severe UTI infections. Severe urinary tract infections are caused because of prostate enlargement. Okay, so these are some of the symptoms of drug abuse. So you must remember the symptoms seen in females and symptoms seen in males separately. These effects may be permanent with prolonged use. So sometimes these symptoms may occur, but after stopping the use of drugs, these symptoms may go away. But some of these symptoms may become permanent. They may never go away even when the drug is stopped forever. In adolescent male or female, severe facial and body acne and premature closure of growth centers of the long bones may result in stunted growth. So if drug use is taken during adolescence, it may also stop the growth of the body, and the height of the person may remain stunted. Apart from that, too much of facial hair growth may occur both in males and females. Okay. Then we come to prevention and controls. Simple points, so I'm just reading through it. So what is prevention and control? We have already discussed these points in just before. Okay, in my notes I've given you these points and we have discussed them in brief. We'll discuss them in detail because this kind of a question has come in boards. How do we prevent? What is the right way of prevention, etc. Okay, value again, as I told you, value based question. So the age old, so need not see the screen, you just read in your books and read it with me, read along. The age old the adage of prevention is better than cure holds true here too. It is also true that habits such as smoking, taking drugs or alcohol are most likely to be taken up at a young age, more during adolescence. Hence, it is best to identify the situations that may push an adolescent towards the use of drugs or alcohol and to take remedial measures well in time. In this regard, the parents and teachers have a special responsibility. Parenting that combines with high level of nurturance and consistent discipline has been associated with lowered risk of substance abuse. So that means generally people do not develop this habit of drugs and alcohol abuse in once they grow up after the age of 18 or when they start working. Then they generally do not take up this habit. They pick up this habit more during adolescence. Okay, because that is the time when your mind is not completely developed, it is not completely mature, cannot take a mature decision. At that time your ego is more higher on, is sitting on your head more than your responsibilities. At the time when you become responsible, you know you have the responsibility of your family, you're responsible towards the society, you realize that responsibility, you understand that taking all these things may move you away from those responsibilities. But at that time, because you don't have any responsibility, your mind is not fully developed enough to take very serious decisions in life. So at that time you get motivated or lured towards all these things. So the right thing is to identify the person who's moving towards this drug abuse in the age of adolescence or in young age only, and then counseling that person at the right time. And moreover, two things are very important. First is a right kind of parenting. Parenting which has nurturance. Nurture means just like a bird nurtures the child, take cares of all the basic needs, keep an eye on the child, plus discipline. Even at parental level, when too much of nurturance is given without keeping discipline, then it also leads to drug abuse. Too much of money given, no time for children. You buy whatever you want because the parents love their children. I will give you, I will fulfill all your demands. I will not ask you why you are asking for money. You want money, you take like $1,000 more than what you want. Okay, so such kind of an attitude, which such kind of parenting which lacks a discipline, moves or lures a person towards all these types of vices. Okay, some of the measures mentioned here would be particularly useful for prevention and control of alcohol and drug abuse towards among adolescents. The first thing is avoid undue peer pressure. Okay, so if suppose your friend is very intelligent, you are doing the best of your capability, but still you are not able to outsmart your friend, so do not compete. You are giving your best. See, what even to the batch who has gone just now, who has given a very good result, we used to say you have the ability, but the second thing we used to say is you give your best. Later you should not regret that, had I worked more I could have got more marks. Okay, after giving your best, leave it to the hands of God. Whatever marks he has thought for you, you will get. You cannot get more than that. Okay, but that also you will get only when you give your best. So you give your best and then leave it in the hands of God. Do not take that undue pressure. Okay, in pre-board he got 1 mark more than me. Students who topped in pre-board are not the toppers in this exam, in the final exams. Okay, and then the neat result is yet to come. Fine. So what is written in your destiny cannot be changed, but yes, destiny can be made with hard work. So in your hands is only that hard work. If you fall into peer pressure, that will only increase your stress. That will only lure you towards wrong things. That is not going to help you. So give your best and leave it in the hands of God. So education and counseling. If suppose you find that your friend or the parents find their children or the teachers find their students are under some kind of a stress or their behavior has suddenly changed, then a proper counseling is required, and plus educating the person and then giving them a healthy lifestyle. See, sports should be played. It's not that the sports will take away your time for neat preparation. The sports, taking up sports will give you that required energy, that pumping of oxygen in your brain, that oxygen to your nerve cells, that will help you to remember the things which you have done. Okay, that is why I'm always praising Shivanjay. Okay, Shivanjay always he goes for tennis practices. I don't know why he's not going nowadays. So he's not going for tennis practices. So Shivanjay is not there. Had it been he been in class, I would have asked him, restart your tennis practices. Okay, so you must practice any one sport. I'm not saying for the, if you don't think you're very good at it, nobody is saying practice it at the professional level. You can just take it as a sport which is increasing your mental ability. Your sports will not take away your time for your studies. They will help you in doing a better study. Okay, so healthy lifestyle, which includes sports, reading, music, yoga, any relaxation exercise, all these things should be incorporated in the lifestyle. It should be incorporated in your as a part of your education also, and plus counseling in case a sudden change in behavior is observed. Then is seeking help from parents and peers. We have discussed this already. If suppose you are into some kind of a stress, you're facing somebody has abused you. Nowadays online abusing is so very common. Okay, online bullying is so very common, and many people they commit suicide because of online bullying. Okay, so isn't that very strange? We have the cyber police also nowadays, a special branch of police, cyber crimes. Okay, so we have so many, you have so many friends, you have your parents who are techno savvy nowadays. Earlier times the parents didn't know what is this Facebook, what is email, why is somebody sending you a vague email. They were hardly bothered about it. But nowadays even your parents are techno savvy, so they can understand what is online bullying. They can understand what is bullying at the school level. So every one of us, because the media has made these things so popular, we know about it. The parents will be able to understand it. Your teachers will be able to understand it, what you are suffering. They will not feel that it is what nonsense are you talking about. Okay, so if you contact them, then in time a right measure can be taken that can help the adolescents from preventing themselves from falling trapped to these drugs. Then looking for danger signs. Now this is the responsibility of each and every person. A parent, not only a parent, a teacher, but as a friend, as a classmate, okay, as a batchmate, even in coachings. Okay, it is your responsibility that if you suddenly see a sudden change in the behavior of a person, you must bring it to the knowledge of any elder who can take the appropriate action. Shiva, you want to say something, beta? You have been unmuted. If not, please mute yourself. Okay, then last is seeking professional and medical help. If suppose we find that these signs of symptoms, these withdrawal symptoms, so, any kind of a sudden change in symptoms are there in a person, then a professional help, that is either the help of a counselor or a doctor, in case it is confirmed that the person is suffering from drug abuse, then the help of a doctor can be taken in order to prevent or take out that person from that habit of drug or alcohol abuse. So this is how, by doing all these things, the problem can be completely removed, and a person who has fallen trapped to these bad habits can be brought back to a normal and healthy life. Okay, so this is it in the chapter. Let's quickly discuss the question and answers, because we'll start with the next chapter. The next chapter will not be chapter number 9. It will be chapter number 10. Okay, because chapter number 9, as I told you, we have discussed the changes in the syllabus. It has been deleted. Okay, so chapter number 10 we'll start with. So let's do the first question. What are the various public health measures which you would suggest as safeguard against infectious diseases? You will give me the answers. I repeat, various public health measures which you would suggest as safeguard against infectious diseases. Yes. Anybody? They're talking about infectious diseases. So first thing would be definitely vaccination. We have to follow the vaccination regime. Okay, so if vaccination is done, then infectious diseases can be prevented. What else can be there apart from vaccination? Proper education, how to avoid these infectious diseases. Then it can be isolation. Nowadays, COVID, what are we doing? So isolation is something that can be done. A person who is suffering from an infectious disease should be kept in isolation so that he or she doesn't come in contact with a healthy person. Then even you remember when swine flu was spreading, then what was it said? If suppose you have fever or flu, then you or symptoms of flu, then you should not come to school for around a week to 10 days. Okay, because for complete curing, 7 to 10 days were required, and the people and students were not allowed to come to school if they had any flu-like symptoms for at least 7 to 10 days. Okay, so that was what we were practicing. We were trying to practice isolation. Apart from that, eradication of vectors, healthy living habits, washing of hands, then cleaning, keeping the environment clean, sterilization, self-sterilization, and then sterilization of the surroundings, not letting water collect in open pits. All these are the methods. So basically you can divide the methods into various subheadings, 6 subheadings. The first subheading will be education, second will be vaccination, third will be sanitation, fourth will be isolation, fifth will be sterilization, and sixth will be eradication. Eradication of what? Of the vectors who are spreading these diseases. Okay, so if you explain these 6 points, your answer will be complete. Fine. If the question carries only 1 or 2 marks, write these points. If it carries 2 or 3, more than 3 marks or around 3 marks, then explain each of these points. Next question, in which way has the study of biology helped us to control infectious diseases? How has it helped? Yes. What else? What has been done? How has biology helped? At least give it a try. These are general questions, beta. They do not have a very technical, specific answer. Yes? One answer will be same. Study of biology. Till the time we had not studied biology, we didn't come to know about vaccines, how to make vaccines, what is the benefit of vaccination. So biology has given us vaccines and has told us the importance of vaccination. Then biology, biotechnology, that is a branch of biology which deals with the technical part, the practical applications of biology. Biotechnology has helped us in making antibodies, and these antibodies are used as passive vaccines also. They are used in testing of various infectious diseases present in our body. All these ELISA tests, etc., Vidal test was not possible till the time these monoclonal antibodies were formed. So biology has helped us in making monoclonal antibodies, which not only help in treatment, but also diagnosis of a disease. What else can be there? Yes? How was penicillin discovered? Till the time we studied about fungus, Penicillium notatum, we were not knowing about it. Till the time it was grown, its action was seen on various pathogenic bacteria, we were not able to make antibiotics. So antibiotics were made with the help of the study of biology, and which has also helped us in treatment of infectious diseases. Okay, so knowing about diseases, how they are spreading, this biology is given. How to use vaccines, how to make vaccines, how to make antibodies, and how to use these antibodies. Plus, the last thing is, what? Who will tell me the last point? Who will tell me the last point? Nobody. Making of antibiotics and understanding their action on various pathogens. Okay. Next, how does the transmission of each of the following disease takes place? Amoebiasis. How does it spread? Entamoeba histolytica. Fecal oral route. Transmission takes place by fecal oral route. Next is malaria clustering. Now, this is strange if you don't give this answer. Malaria. Rajan, unmute yourself. Ma'am, please unmute Rajan. He is trying to speak something.
Female Anopheles.
Yes, the bite of female Anopheles mosquito, that is a vector-borne disease. Good, Rajan. Ascariasis. Contaminated food and water. Pneumonia. Yes, oral route, ascariasis by contaminated food and water by oral route. Pneumonia. Yes, pneumonia by air, sputum of patients. Okay, so by air it can be spread by the sputum of patients. Then is, what measures would you take to prevent waterborne diseases? Please unmute yourself and give the answer. I repeat, what measures? You all have your book. I don't think I need to repeat the question. Page 164, question number 4. What measures would you take to prevent waterborne diseases? This one and very common method. You're using ROs, you're using aquaguards. Why are you using that? To prevent waterborne diseases. Okay, so the supply of clean drinking water or cleaning of water, sterilization of water before it is consumed, it can prevent the spread of diseases, of waterborne diseases. Okay, so that's a common thing. Then direct the pond and lake water, river water should not be taken directly. They should be taken only after sterilization. Then is, discuss with your teacher what does a suitable gene means in context to DNA vaccine. What do you mean by a suitable gene? Yes? A suitable gene is a gene that can be modified inside the host or that can be targeted inside the host in order to prevent a disease or in order to kill the disease causing organism. If suppose I have targeted gene X which is present inside bacteria, as soon as that gene X is stopped, is blocked, the bacteria is not able to divide and gets killed. So the suitable gene is the gene which is targeted inside the host in order to kill the pathogen and stop the spread of disease. Okay. Then is name the primary and secondary lymphoid organs. Now come on, this answer should come from you all. Primary and secondary lymphoid organs. Quick. Primary organs where the formation is taking place. I told you with the example of you studying in a school and college and then going and actually treating a patient. Okay. So the place where the formation is taking place, where the structure is getting formed, is the primary lymphoid organ. Example. Now, if after doing the entire chapter, I have to tell you the answers of these questions, this is strange. Primary lymphoid organ. Yes, Tanvi. Ma'am, please unmute Tanvi.
Ma'am, primary lymphoid organs could be thymus,
And
bone marrow.
perfect. Bone marrow and thymus are the two primary lymphoid organs. Secondary lymphoid organ where they come in contact with the pathogen and learns how to fight the pathogen, learn how to make antibodies. So Tanvi, what will be the secondary lymphoid organs?
Ma'am,
Yes.
spleen.
Yes.
Ma'am, lymph nodes.
Lymph nodes, tonsils, Peyer's patches, malt. Okay, so all these are what? These are the appendix. All these are the places where the cells come in contact with the pathogen and learn how to fight against the pathogen, learn how to make antibodies. So secondary lymphoid organs. Then as the following are some well-known abbreviations which have been used in this chapter. Expand each one to the full form. Malt.
Ma'am, malt would be ma'am mucus.
Mucosal. Yes,
Mucosal
mucosal. Yes. Very good, Tanvi. Continue. Mucosal associated.
Ma'am,
Lymphoid
mucosal associated lymphoid tissue.
tissue. Very good. Mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. Okay. Then anybody else except Tanvi? CMI.
Cell mediated immunity.
Yes, cell mediated immunity. AIDS. Acquired
Immunodeficiency syndrome.
NACO. Yes,
National
NACO.
National AIDS
Control Organization.
National
AIDS
Control
Control Organization. Okay. Next, HIV. You all know what is
Human
HIV? Immunodeficiency virus. Human immunodeficiency virus.
deficiency.
Okay. Good, Tanvi. You may mute yourself. Differentiate between the following and give examples of each. Innate and acquired immunity. Innate and acquired immunity. Innate and acquired immunity. Yes, what are the differences? Innate immunity, you are born with this immunity. Okay, various types of immunity, like the skin is providing you, the mucous membrane is providing you. All these are the types of innate immunity with which a person is born with. And acquired immunity is the one which is acquired after birth. Okay, when a pathogen comes in contact with you, your body learns to fight against that disease, and that gives you acquired immunity. All the immunity which is provided by the vaccines, active vaccines. Okay, so the immunity provided by the active vaccines or immunity provided by the entry of pathogens inside our body are all the acquired immunity. There is active and passive immunity. Yes, active immunity which goes inside a body, the vaccines, when they go inside a body and start the antibody production. then such immunity will be called as active immunity. And if directly the antibodies are injected into the body so that they go and directly fight with the pathogen or kill the pathogen, this will be passive immunity, because our body is not learning how to make antibodies. We are artificially providing antibodies from outside. Then is a well-labeled diagram of antibody molecule. You have to make that long arm, short arms, the variable regions. You have to form the disulfide bonds between them, and that will form a typical antibody molecule. And it's very important. It has come in board last time also. No, 3 boards I had given, but the same question has come in your board examinations also. It is given on page 151. Page number 151. This is the structure of a typical antibody molecule. Okay, they never ask you. I have given you the detailed structure, in which there's only one single light chain and heavy chain, which is a complex molecule made up of 2 different antibodies, which is a complex molecule made up of 5 different antibodies, but that does not come in exams. In exam, if the question comes on structure of antibody, this is asked. Okay, and you have to draw this as the typical structure of an antibody. Then, what are the various routes by which transmission of human immunodeficiency virus takes place? Various mechanisms by which, or various routes, how is it transferred? Yes, we have done all the ways. Sexual contact with infected person, transfusion of contaminated blood, sharing of infected needle from infected mother to the child. These are the methods by which AIDS is transmitted. Okay. Then is 4 methods you have to write at least. Next is, what are the mechanism by which AIDS virus cause deficiency of immune system of the infected person? So you have to write the entire detail. First, the virus enters inside, then it forms its copy. From RNA, the DNA is formed with the help of enzyme reverse transcriptase. This DNA goes and gets associated with the DNA of our macrophages. Macrophages then start acting as a factory for these viruses, and a large amount of these viruses are produced and released into the blood. These viruses then go and damage the helper T cells, and they start dividing inside the helper T cells and spreading from one helper T cell to other. The helper T cells, in turn, the number goes on decreasing drastically, which results in decrease in immunity, resulting in AIDS. Okay, so these are the steps you have to mention. Then is, how is a cancerous cell different from a normal cells? You have to write about their external structure also and internal structure also. External structure, they are more rounded in appearance. The normal cells are rough in appearance. The nucleus of normal cell is intact, whereas the nucleus of cancer cells is distorted. Number of mitochondria are more in case of lesser in case of cancer cells, more in normal cells. Number of lysosomes more in cancer cells, less in normal cells. Apart from that, while growing, the cancer cells show the phenomena of do not show the phenomena of contact inhibition, whereas normal cells show the phenomena of contact inhibition. So these are the points which you have to write. Then is, explain what is meant by metastasis. The ability of a cell to move from cancer cells to move from the tissue of origin or the organ of origin to other cells and spread, and in turn cause cancers in those regions, is known as metastasis. The ability to move from the original target organ to other organs of the body. Okay, so I'll just read out the definition of metastasis they have given. The phenomena in which the cancer cells spread to distant sites through body fluids to develop secondary tumor is called as metastasis. Okay. Next is, list out the harmful effects caused by alcohol or drug abuse. Harmful effects, I have made you mark. Harmful effects, first is the primary effects, then is excessive use, then effect on the person, the individual effects on the person, effects on the society, effects on the family. All these effects you will write. Okay. Then the chances of suffering from sexually transmitted diseases. Then is Do you think that friends can influence one to take drug or alcohol? If yes, how may one protect him or herself from such influence? Another value based questions. Okay, so if NCRT is giving you these questions, means they can come in boards, and they have come in boards. So yes, the company or friends can influence one to take alcohol and drugs, because in adolescence the people children are more attached to their friends, and they sometimes see their friends as their role models. So if a friend is doing something wrong, that can act as a stimulus for that person to start taking drugs, because then, and secondly, he may not feel like being considered as the odd one out in the friends company. So all these things, which indirectly we can call as peer pressure, leads to a person taking drugs. So let me read out the answer which many refreshers have given for this question. Yes, friends can influence for taking alcohol or drug. So they have just said yes, but I think the answers in refreshers is incomplete. You must tell why. Okay, if it is a 3-marker question, only yes. Refreshers say yes, it can impact. But while writing, see, always remember, in 10th or 12th boards, consider the examiner is a fool. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't belong to biology. He is not a biology teacher who's sitting and checking your copy there. You are explaining an English teacher or a Hindi teacher your biology questions. So you go down to that level and explain your answers in a simple way, using all the keywords, so that there are no chances of losing any marks. Okay, so don't write only yes, explain why friends can influence, because friends if a friend is taking drugs, it can result into a peer pressure, because the person may feel that taking drugs is cool, and he will be in among the friends if he takes drugs. So that is why taking drugs can lead to increased peer pressure. Okay, see, I'm cross-checking my timetable because I have another class in 7 minutes. Okay. How one may protect himself from the influence? First thing they are saying is avoid undue peer pressure, not taking undue pressure or of failures, then seeking help from parents and peers, and seeking medical or help or counseling. So these are the steps which a person can take, the steps which are given in the end. All these 5 steps can be taken in order to avoid getting habitual of drug, even if your friend is taking it. Next is, why is that once a person starts taking alcohol or drug, it is difficult to get rid of this habit? Discuss it with your teacher. Okay, we have already discussed this. Once a person starts taking drug, that feeling of euphoria, that feeling of wellness, it acts as a lure. Whenever a person is stressed, then that feeling of wellness which he had experienced he feels like experiencing it again, and that acts as a lure for taking drugs. And once the body becomes habitual to drugs, that small amount of drug will not be able to give that same amount of effect, and the doses have to be increased at regular intervals, turning a person into a drug addict. Okay, then in your view, what motivates youngsters to take alcohol or drugs, and how can this be avoided? Obviously the peer pressure and the stress level, it motivates the youngsters to take drug. Let us see the points mentioned. First is curiosity, second pleasure, third, to escape from realities of life and frustrations and depressions. Then fourth is peer pressure. Fifth is desire for excitement. Sixth, desire to do some more work. The ability of the body will increase. You will not feel tiredness. Unhappy married life, monotony of daily life. The life has become very monotonous, no change in life, no spices in life. So a person may start taking drugs. Then what is how can this be avoided? It can be avoided, all these 5 points. Again, all these 5 points: avoiding peer pressure, education and counseling, seeking help from parents and peer, looking for danger signs, seeking professional and medical help are the points. Okay, so